Hello there, everybody. Bill Sparks from Gilead Ministries, and I'm spending some time with some friends today, and very, very thankful to have Steve and Tisdale with me, and been friends for a while. They volunteer with Gilead in addition to being clients, and we're just thankful that they were able to take the time to be together with us. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Ann's story and give you some updates and things of that nature. Many of you ask about Ann and how she's doing, and so we wanted to bring her back on and do another video. So here we are, and going to start off with just real quick, talk about the very first time, what's going on, and your diagnosis.
I had problems for a while. My tongue, I couldn't eat, and I couldn't talk. And I just thought it was my tooth. And so I told Steve when we were in there, I said, I'm dying. We have to do something. So he called the Aspen Devil, I'm supposed to say that, and we went there, and they didn't diagnose me. They didn't, the whole floor of my mouth was gone. And they just said I had gingivitis. So they pulled all my teeth.
Periodontal disease.
Yeah. And so they pulled all my teeth and saved me some dentures. Took that thing out of my mouth, and my mouth, oh my gosh, it was the worst thing. But saved me some dentures, gave the dentures sitting on my way, and I kept having problems. It just wasn't. So we went to
Dr. Weiland and Copeland.
Yeah, Dr. Weiland and Copeland, and he was going to do something that he took me out. And when I was out, he did a biopsy. And then that's when we found out that I had cancer. That pretty much knew in my mind that that's what it was.
Yeah. And you'd been worried about that the entire time.
Yes.
Because you knew that it was more than just problems.
Right. But when I went to Aspen Devil and they didn't diagnose it, I thought, well, yeah, I'm fine. This is it. Crazy.
Yep.
But no.
Yep.
I just moved.
Yep. Yep. So then the process began, and so what are some of the things that you went through in the front side with your diagnosis?
Did
you had surgery?
Yeah. Well, first I had surgery to remove the cancer, and then I had chemo and radiation, and the radiation caused the bar in my lungs to come out. So I had to have reconstructive surgery, and then I thought that was it. Then I had 37 radiation and 5 chemo treatments. That was bad.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And so during one of the videos, people tell me this phrase all the time. And so do you remember the phrase cancer? So what was it?
It saved my life.
Yeah.
Somebody said it
Yep.
did.
Yep. Cancer didn't kill me. It saved my life. Yeah. So then that all happens. And we've talked a little bit about then the dynamic between the two of you that's going on as well. So when do you want to address that? What's going on as far as the marriage is concerned, and how does cancer affect it?
Well, when we left St. Vincent, they have like a patient navigator, and Karen Burnell was ours, and we've mentioned that before. She was she didn't have wings, but she was an angel. That's for sure.
Fantastic.
And they went over some of the things for medication, also the dynamics of the family. Most families, marriages don't survive major cancer scares. Not scares, but
Mm-hmm.
So we were aware of that, and it became obvious when they started messing with her medicines how she wasn't. Yeah, it was messing with her mind, but that little training helped us to get through the hard times. And what I say this all the time, but most people statistics say, but me and Ann grew closer in that time.
Absolutely.
Of course, we'd given our heart to God, and He, with the Holy Spirit, was leading us through all this. And what was supposed to be a separation of the family and of the marriage become a tremendous bringing us together.
I love this.
And so, Ann, at this particular time, talk about your guys' faith and how it begins to change with this event.
So it's hard to think. pretty much the floor cancer, they just did a little thing that living right, and I didn't have anything to do with God. And I really, I don't know how to explain it. I really didn't. I wasn't like most people when they get sick, they automatically go to God. I didn't do that. I just thought, well, it's more like He came to me, and I knew He helped me through every single thing, and He said signs, and I saw feathers, just amazing things, signs of
Angels.
angels. I saw
People
angels.
think we're crazy, but we.
Nope.
No, they said to me, I said, what do you want? I really did. And they said, I'm not here to hurt you, I'm here to help you. I said, okay. And he came home, I did cupcakes.
When I left to go to church, she was laying on the couch in excruciating pain.
Yep.
She would rock back and forth in pain all the time. And I come home and there she just like eating cupcakes and like, I had angels. I was like, yeah. And the amazing thing was that she had been texting me telling me how bad she hurt. So I went up front and had a couple of the ministers pray for me. I stood in her stead.
Yeah.
At the same time they were praying for me, that's when she had her encounter.
Yep.
And I knew, see, she didn't come from a religious background. So when she described them to me, I knew she saw what she saw. Talking about the sashes and stuff, it's things that you read in the Bible of how an angel appears.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they appeared to her. And I knew she didn't know that because this was young, she was just a new convert.
Yep.
Her religion was, we were raised Catholic. I mean, sorry, but that's as far as it went.
Yep.
So when she started describing to him, just like, okay, she saw what she saw.
Yeah.
Because I doubted at first, but I was so desperate to have her back and well that I was willing to go outside my own thought process and allow God and the Holy Spirit to move in the supernatural, and we've been doing it ever since, and He's been showing up every time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yep. And so obviously you've learned through this process how your faith has actually grown through the struggle, where many people feel like that's what would have taken it apart, like you're talking about your family.
Yeah.
This struggle should have taken your faith apart, but because you're willing to see and let God do what He wanted to do, it actually grew your faith.
Yes, it did.
Yep. Yep.
Yes, it did. And we're close, and they didn't have a good relationship with our kids beforehand. I mean, they did their own thing. They loved us and we loved them, but we didn't have a relationship. And that was it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Isn't that? Yeah. So God used this event to touch your family in so many different ways. And obviously the most important part is to really put faith as the core, which is what fixes everything else anyway.
I mean, it could have gone the other way. I could have blamed God and said, no.
Yeah.
That's something she never did. She never blamed God.
No. I blamed myself.
I always said at the end of our rope, we've always found a miracle.
Yeah.
When we had nowhere else to turn,
Yep.
that's when God showed up. Yeah. We finally laid it down within not our power, but and that's when you find miracles, is when you've done all you can do and just open up and say.
Yeah.
So
it's something beyond us. That's why it's a miracle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we think we can manipulate, or we can talk or beg,
we're going to get through this.
Or just tough it out. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So how many years now has it been since you were first diagnosed?
10.
10 years.
Almost 11.
Wow, going on 11th year.
When was I diagnosed? August?
2010.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yep, that's cool. And you were not supposed to really get through this.
No,
one of the things.
I wasn't supposed to talk or eat or anything.
Yep. Yep. And obviously, we're talking to you today.
And I eat. I said lots of good stuff I could eat.
Lots of good stuff you could eat.
Ice cream.
Oh, goodness. So, what else about this journey? And we'll talk a little bit about what we were talking about just recently it happened. But what else about this journey has changed the way you see life or see your faith?
I'm not cynical like I used to be. I see the good in people. I don't know.
I think we've learned everybody has a story.
Yeah.
You don't know, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm very.
and then this around, you have to think about it with everybody. Even if it's wrong, like, and I hate something like, people are just, that, just like, they have something, maybe have something wrong.
Yeah.
And you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And it's been a 10-year journey.
Yeah.
And we're still seeing restoration, like we
Yeah.
talked about Saturday, just piece by piece. I wanted God to heal her instantly. You know, begged and begged and begged. But
it's either done it that way.
it was a process that got us to where we're at. Sometimes you have to go through process in order to reach to where He wants to take you.
It has to be a process, absolutely.
And that's a hard message, Ann, I know, for people to hear.
Yeah.
And that is, if God would have done it the other way, it may not actually have the outcomes we have now by Him going through the process, because He knew what it took for you to let go of things and to trust Him more in the areas that He was working in your life.
And every variation statement, every single statement, I kept that in my mind. I have to do this. This is what I have to do. And that really helped. Yeah.
So your first interaction with Gilead Ministries, you weren't even aware it was Gilead Ministries. One of our board members actually came, and so tell us a little bit about Mike
Mike had written a book,
right? Yep.
And I don't know, he was out of treatment, but somehow he had found out that there was somebody with head and neck cancer here in Marion, and that she was coming to the cancer center. But because of HIPAA laws, they couldn't tell him who she was. So he said, just give her this book. And he had a little note in there, a little card.
They didn't give it to me. It was sitting on the
Yeah, a little card that said, I've been looking for you, sister. And I'm praying for you. And they wouldn't,
Yeah.
And then whatever. Finally, they kind of like, it's Mike,
Yeah.
And he brought a package to Ann one Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. We were so desperate. She was so depressed and was so heartbroken and tired and wore out and ready to give up, and just it was I keep saying, but it was bad. And Mike was the first person she saw with the same cancer as she had. And he come in, and they shared their stories about, I remember this, and the draining tubes, and he showed her how he did exercises going up the wall. Remember that? And she got a first glimpse that there was life after what she had been through. Yeah, he gave her hope.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that, we had never heard of anybody this kind of. Now that we got several support groups, this head and neck cancer is all over. You know what I mean? But at that time, we thought she was unique.
Yeah.
And to find somebody else that had walked through the process with the same doctor, same hospital, he should have a pair of wings too, because he brought so much hope, so much hope when he walked through that door, that it changed her whole outlook on her diagnosis, on her surgery. Yeah, I mean, our whole world turned around from that point.
Yeah.
From then on, she knew that she could do this. She knew that she could get back to where life would take her, and that she had hope. And that was the point, in my opinion, that was the point of her healing process. Yeah. That's where she started to heal, both inside and out.
I think I was, in my mind, I was really, I think I was a lot worse in my mind than I was physically. It was rough. They put me on medicine, and that made it even worse. And put me on medicine, and they took me off of it, and I had to withdraw from it. It was, just my mind was.
And we've said this before in interviews before. Cancer is the physical illness, but it's also a very, very mental thing too. It
Yes.
What happened to us just recently, it messes with your mind a lot.
Yeah.
So, and being positive is
Oh, no question. Yeah. Yeah. If you don't come in with that type of positive attitude.
and she didn't have that until she met Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about Mike Connor, by the way. Mike Connor wrote a book called I Sing a New Way.
Yeah.
And
There
that's
you
the
go.
book that he had left for you guys. And we gave a number of those copies away. We sold those books, and Mike donated the money back to Gilead Ministries that he made off of that book at the time that we sold them. So, so that's what we're talking about, Mike Connor, who also had went through a very, very difficult cancer.
Yeah.
And I had supported and interacted with him as a client previously. And he served on our board for a short period of time during a season of life that he was in a place to do
Him
that.
and Ann
So-
still stay in
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's a great idea. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and he actually had come to a board meeting one time and began telling us about your story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, and
Okay.
I think it was actually Steve from the radiation center, I think, that first mentioned it to him, and that's how things kind of got rolling as far as that there was another person.
We like to say
And so,
God orchestrated.
oh, absolutely, God orchestrated. Yes.
And
Yep.
he had the hands of all
Oh,
of
no
it.
question.
And he's still there.
For two people who never met,
Never met.
having a cancer that were both the same. I mean, just
in the same city. in the
same city, exactly. Yep. And yet that's rare.
Yeah.
To have someone in that situation. Breast cancer, you think, okay, there's lots of breast cancer patients,
Right.
but to have this particular cancer and in this area, you don't see this
Same
cancer every day.
doctor, same
Exactly.
hospital. Same,
Yep.
So it was just like
Yeah.
he
Yep.
was a roadmap for
Yep.
Ann
Yep.
to.
Yeah.
That was another miracle.
And God, I say, God, yep, another miracle where God was working in your life.
Absolutely.
He was actually working before you had trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's interesting sometimes. We don't see that God works upstream,
That's why I
that
say,
when we don't even know what's coming on.
No,
So,
absolutely.
that's why I say, he saved my life. He knew.
Yeah.
He knew. I didn't know. He knew.
Yep.
I'm glad he did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he used Mike as part of that process of moving along with the
Absolutely.
other things that you experienced. Yeah.
And he has always placed somebody, sent the right person at the right time.
Through the whole process. Even
We
through
talked
that.
to, when she was diagnosed, the world just collapsed. I've never been sick. She'd never been sick. Matt and Haley had never been sick. And then, boom, we didn't know.
It was bad.
And
I went from
the
0
only
to
person I knew
100.
was, but Jennifer at Cancer Services.
Yeah.
She took us kind of under her wing at
Yeah.
first because we didn't know anything.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
we had Vivian Waltner at Marion General Hospital with Marion Health now. And God put these people in our lives and
Yes.
guided us down every avenue we needed to do.
Even with my disability, people fight hard to hit that. And sometimes they're mostly not. And that line,
Like 7 days.
yeah,
7
Reaching
days
bank
for
was
disability.
really
Wow. Holy smokes.
yeah.
I tell you, no, you can edit this out if you want, but I tell you, when Ann, they had let her go from Regis, and she had to have insurance, so we were thinking of Cobra insurance, and it was very expensive. She lost her job, and so I felt the paperwork, and I was just like, I didn't really know what I was doing. We was in the middle of a battle, and so I just kind of, we got to take the cheapest one we can have because we ain't got no money.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a call on a Friday evening from a little girl all the way down in Alabama. And she said, Mr. Tisdale, this is unusual for us to do, but I'm looking over your wife's application, and I just wanted to make sure this is what you want to do. I'm like, well, yeah, that's all we can afford. She said, no, she said, Ann is still under Regents, so she can have the premium policy for the same as what you're paying for an employee policy. And I said, well, I didn't know that. And she said, you want me to change it for you? And I said, well, yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
But she, right off the bat, she said, this is highly unusual. We usually don't do this. But I was talking to my coworker, and she said, well, maybe we should call. And I was at my mom's house, and I got that call.
Wow.
And my sister and my mom were just, I come in the house crying, just like, God again.
Exactly. Yep.
So that was just a little small.
And one of the reasons why we've done all these videos, and I keep having you come back, is because many people, and I'm not making light of your cancer, but many people have not been down the road that Ann has been, to have such a rough battle with cancer. And we want you to see that cancer can be a place at which that you can grow,
Absolutely.
and that even in the worst of circumstances, God's seeing you through and seeing you to the place and time where you're talking to folks about your story, and you're able to have time with family and stuff that many people think I'll never see again. Much like, to some degree, what Mike did for you by coming in.
Yes.
You're able to say to folks, there is hope. And even in the darker times, there is hope. There's little places. And we pray, obviously, that God would speak to people's heart. That's what we do as a ministry. So we're praying for people like you that God would show up. People sometimes we don't even know. That God would show up and remind you that he does care, that he is in the circumstances. So, yep. Well, you had shared a story right as we got going here, and I think that'd be a great place for us to finish this video up. And so I thought we were going to do that, Ann. So I will let you share the last story that we talked about, because I think it's such a cool story of how God one more time in a just a situation has said, I got you. It's okay, I got you. So
this is the
PET scan this past week and everything. So talk a little bit about the ears and stuff. And
well, about a month or so ago, Ann started having sharp pains in her ears, and she didn't say nothing at first, which she doesn't do a lot. But then it got so severe that she started saying, my ears are hurting. So I called down to Carmel, and Dr. Riga said, bring her down. So we took her down, and they did an extensive ear test on her, and everything turned out fine there. And he examined her, nose, ear, throat, everything looked fine there. And then he asked her how long it had been since she had a PET scan. And it's been about 3 or 4 years, and she didn't want to do one, but we had agreed that if he asked for one, she would do one, because they're not easy within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked for one, so we scheduled it, did it right here in Marion. Marion has got some amazing facilities. The imaging, the cancer center for a small town. We have Marion Health does a very good job.
Yes, we do.
We don't have to travel through all her treatments. We didn't have to travel anywhere. We can do it all right here.
Yeah.
So she went and had her PET scan, and when we left, Dr. Reese had told us that if he saw something that concerned him, he would call us and reschedule for a return visit. And if we didn't hear from him, everything was fine. Just go about your business. So she had her scan Friday. Well, Monday, he calls, and he calls. So Ann's heart sinks. My heart sinks, thinking that, something's wrong, because that's what he told us.
I missed the call.
Yeah.
And it took about 45 minutes for him to call me back. So that whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, in that 45 minutes, old Satan come knocking down.
I thought, and my thought process was, I can either yield to this, or I can hang on to my God and his promises, and that's what I did. I actually just said, okay,
yep.
I whatever happens. Okay,
So he did call back, didn't he? And he had forgotten what he said. He just wanted to call. We had built a pretty good relationship with him, so he wanted to call personally and tell her everything was fine and was great, and everything was good.
So yeah.
But like me and Bill talked for that 45 minutes. The old adversary came and wanted to try to make you believe that something was wrong. And
see, I'm like before when this first started, I had God, that I knew that I could hurt her, and put him in charge. He's always been the whole way, and just less than that, and that's what I did. Well, kind of.
Everybody
but that's just it. And that's one of the reasons why I think that story is a great place to finish. Those 45 minutes was a roller coaster.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it was a roller coaster. And people who have been through everything you've been through and seen everything you've seen still can find times when the roller coaster happens.
Yeah.
Yes,
when
they understand exactly what she's saying about the roller coaster.
And so as a result of that, you only had one option. You had already said, God, I'm yours.
Yeah.
And so that was the option you had. And then, like Stephen said, don't give in to fear. As best, we know God is in this, and he's going to take care of this, and so don't give in to fear. But it's hard not to.
Yes.
It's hard not to. And I want you to hear that message, because some of you might be listening to this video and you're going, oh my goodness, but I'm not, no, sometimes for whatever reason, God brings different situations to
He
pass,
does.
again, to remind you you are in his hands.
Exactly.
And for some, it is a transition, and for some, it is another opportunity to see another miracle opportunity
Absolutely.
where that you're getting beyond.
Yeah.
So maybe he's calling you for transition from this place to a greater place, which we're all going to someday.
Yes.
That's the reason why their faith is so important. It's not just to get them through this moment, but to know that if this moment finishes, whatever that looks like,
Right.
that we're all going to be in heaven together.
Yeah.
And for what kind of fun we have here and the kind of praising we do here, it's going to be even better there.
Yeah.
So
And
that's,
Ann will tell you that no matter what happens, we got a word, so we're standing on a word.
Yep.
But we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why I said to myself yesterday, whatever happens.
Sometimes you have to will yourself to believe, will yourself to have
Yep.
faith.
Yep.
So
Absolutely, no question. You have to push
it's
against.
not easy. We're human, and,
Yep.
and even after 10 years,
Yep.
just that one missed phone call sent you in a tailspin.
And the
Sent us
good
to.
thing is, he knows we're human,
But
so
we-
he
yeah.
knows.
But you reach down and say, "No, I know, I know what God's done."
Yep. Yep.
I call them memory stones. You pull out your memory stones.
Yep.
And you.
Yep.
You know.
Yepers. Well, I've really enjoyed having you guys together. We spent a couple hours together just a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, and we talked until finally we had to just leave because it was getting to be time that we needed to go to bed as old people. So,
That's
yeah,
why
but
she
it
had
was
to step it up an hour tonight.
it was great. Yeah. So she's been watching the grandchild all day, so she's all wore out. So yeah. But I just want to thank you guys again for sharing your story. I want to thank you for your patience with me over the times that we've had a chance to work together. You guys have been so gracious to me, and I am so thankful for the two of you. You have encouraged my faith. I have not been down the path that most of the people I serve have been down. And so the only way I can know what's actually going on is to enter your world, to pray with you, to talk to you, to interact with you, to interview like this. And I do that I don't just do this on camera. I mean, I always try to get people's story when I'm sitting with them.
Yes.
Because I think it's important, like you said, everyone has a story.
Everyone.
We have a backdrop, a backstory as to why we're acting, what we're doing, what we're struggling with right now.
Let me tell you something.
yes.
You helped me too. When I volunteered here, I felt like I was useful. I was used to work, and so when I come in and volunteered, it really helped.
Great.
Yeah.
And that may be something
Gave her
someone else
purpose
needs to hear. Yeah. Yep. Maybe you're looking for something. Maybe you're in the middle of a treatment, needing purpose or whatever. Yeah. And they also volunteer at our events and have a lot of fun. Yeah. Especially the golf scramble. That's probably the one that they
I
have.
kind of like the ribs myself.
Yeah. We were going to say that, but now that you said it,
Hey.
yeah, he come for the ribs instead
Ribs
of
in the pudding.
I sent Dog a message, and he messaged me back.
Yeah. Through that golf scramble, she and Steve have gotten to be good friends with Bob Pertee, who is a mouth cancer survivor as well. And so also has had, I believe it was a kidney. Bob, if you're listening, tell me, text me it's a kidney or whatever. I think it's a kidney is the other place he's had the situation. So, but he's had to go through treatments and stuff. And so you guys have gotten connected with him. And now the two of you are connecting via text regularly and praying for each other and encouraging each other. Bob's a great guy.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
he's fun to hang out.
He is. He's a lot of fun to hang out with. He sure is. I know I get to play golf with him every so often at the golf course. And then he's the one who was always with the clipboard when we show up telling us where to go. Now, that was nice. I meant that nice, Bob. Okay, so, yeah. So, yep. And this entire interview will be on the site. We'll have a edited version. So if you're listening right now, there's an edited version you'll see before this one. But we always put the uncut ones on there so everybody can get a chance to listen. Because sometimes people just enjoy the banter. Other folks can turn it off. But unfortunately, we are pros at bantering. There's no question. Yep. Come to the golf scramble and you'll see the banter. There's no question. Yeah. I guess in the other office, it was a lot of bantering in there too. So this is Bill Sparks from Gilead Ministries. Thank you so much for stopping by and visiting and getting time to listen to Steve and Ann's story and specifically Ann's journey with cancer. So y'all take care now. Bye-bye.